very serious temperatures being reported. Talk us through where we stand at the moment.
I certainly will, yes. We're in the midst of an historic spell of weather here in the UK. Of course, the Met Office have issued those amber extreme heat warnings across all of England, Wales, parts of South and South East Scotland. There is the red warning in force too now. The Met Office have actually introduced these warnings, and the fact we've actually gone to red so soon and over such a huge area is just an indication that how our climate is currently changing and things are starting to heat up. Already at 1 p.m, temperatures were around 35 Celsius at Charlwood in Surrey, but across the nations they have been rising. Wales up to 33, Scotland 29, Northern Ireland 27 degrees, and it's still roughly around 3 hours worth of heating to expect. So let me take you through some of the hot spots for this afternoon. We expect those temperatures to reach the highest. The peak of the heat will be somewhere in the triangle between London, East Anglia and also the Midlands, where one or two spots could get above 40 degrees. Just south of that, a little bit more cloud at the moment. Could just mean those temperatures fluctuate a bit more, but widely into the low, if not mid-30s across Wales. Same too across Northern England. Northern Ireland approaching 30 degrees as well this afternoon, and up to around 28 Celsius through parts of central Scotland. Now, there is an exception to this hot story. It is a little bit more refreshing around some of the beaches, but the Northern and Western Isles, here we've got temperatures in the mid to high teens. Good to have comfort, I think, for some of you.
Sally is back here. Now, Sally, I've just seen an email you sent round to everyone. 38.1 degrees in Suffolk, 37.4 in Kew. Hot, but not a record. No, not a record. 95% chance that we could get a record tomorrow. I also just want to show you some photos or some footage from Woolwich Common. We talked about fires earlier. Currently 2 acres are on fire on Woolwich Common, and 60 firefighters are dealing with that. So not great. Not great for climate change or, of course, pollution as well. Just one more thing. We've got a very warm night tonight to come. Could be really dangerous if heat exhaustion sets in. So the advice is just try and get some air coming through your house however you can. Keep drinking water and look after anyone who's potentially vulnerable, the older and the younger. Right, let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. Here we go. So here we go. Here is our potential high for tomorrow, 40 degrees, which would of course make it warmer than today, and it's why we've got the extreme heat warning in place. Just take a look at this chart. You can see this is the low pressure that's been helping push that very hot air up towards us. By Wednesday, it does become less cool, still warm, but nothing like we've had it. This is what hay fever sufferers want to hear. The pollen levels are low. Grass pollen is in decline. There is still some weed pollen around, though. That's it for now. Take care. Mind yourself in the heat. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
Well, shall we take a look at the weather? Ben Rich is here. Ben, we are going to be hanging on your every word, and it could get even hotter in some places tomorrow.
For some, tomorrow will be even hotter, Fiona, yes, and I'll show you tomorrow's temperatures in a moment, but today's have been striking enough. An extraordinarily hot day across vast swathes of the country. Wales setting an all-time temperature record provisionally. Cornwall setting a new record. Jersey also set a new record. Santon Downham in Suffolk, the hottest place of all, 38.1 degrees. There are still some figures trickling in. We still have then this red warning from the Met Office for extreme heat, because as we've mentioned, for some tomorrow will be even hotter, and tonight isn't going to give you much of a chance to cool down. Lots of sunshine continuing for most through the evening, some areas of cloud, and then if you're heading off to bed at around 10 o'clock, we'll look at that 31 degrees in the centre of London, 23 in Glasgow, 22 in Belfast. It will be really uncomfortable for sleeping, and whereas we'd expect to see these orange colours draining away from the chart overnight, they don't really. Around dawn, temperatures briefly getting down to these lows. So we are starting Tuesday morning on a very warm note. In fact, this is the hottest wedge of air of this whole period of hot weather. It's going to be sitting in place for tomorrow. Coming in from the west, we've got frontal systems trying to introduce cooler, fresher air. Where that hot air stays in place across eastern parts, if it stays sunny for long enough, we could see some unprecedented high temperatures. So, out towards the west, some showers creeping in. Could be the odd thunderstorm. Belfast, Plymouth, a little bit cooler than today. But further east, this is where we are expecting the core of the heat. We'll zoom in. Parts of the East Midlands, Eastern England, Lincolnshire could see a temperature tomorrow all the way up to 42 degrees Celsius. That certainly would break the all-time UK record. But
who's at Cambridge University Botanical Garden for us tonight. Becky, just 3 years ago, the record temperature was set there at 38.7 degrees Celsius, and it's looking like it'll be well broken tomorrow. What do you make of the extreme weather that we're seeing this week? Well, Charlene, you're absolutely right. We've got the weather station here behind me. I've been doing this job for over 22 years, and in that time alone, really a very short amount of time in the bigger picture, I've seen 2 new temperature records set. And if we do hit the predicted 41 degrees somewhere across the UK through tomorrow, that will be a rise in the UK's maximum temperature of 4 degrees in just really a very short amount of time. And it's also worth noting, of course, that today has been very still and very sunny. Tomorrow is expected to be cloudier and a lot windier as well. If it was a clear and still day, we would be discussing, we're not, but we would be discussing, if those were the conditions, temperatures of around 44 degrees, which would put us on a par with the maximum temperature of Spain that was set very recently. Now, of course, from a point of view of a weather presenter, these stories are very exciting, but frankly, it's now quite alarming. And I do think it has to add urgency to those climate change talks, because I can only foresee more of these stories to come.
It still holds the heat record for now, doesn't it? But what are we likely to see tomorrow then?
Well, Charlene, things are set to get even hotter across some parts of the UK. So, as you've been hearing, a Met Office red warning for extreme heat remains in force as we look ahead to tomorrow. And we have a look at those temperatures. You can see that it really is those central areas in that red zone that could be seeing highs of rising up to around 41 degrees, which, as you know, would be a new UK record. Now, we are expecting that heat tomorrow, as I say, to be very intense in that red area, but the amber warning is across the whole of England and Wales. So for almost everyone, this is going to continue to be very hot indeed. So it is a fairly short-lived affair, and really from Thursday onwards, it's back to business as usual, but really worth reiterating once again that we do have a red warning in force for that extreme heat across many central parts through tomorrow. So stay cool if you can. Back to you.
Will do, Becky, thank you.
And Elizabeth, just give us a sense of how we compare to other cities which, you know, are used to high temperatures.
Well, yes, indeed. I mean, it's always fun to do this, but you have to remember that today's and tomorrow's temperatures are particularly alarming. But, you know, it's interesting. So here we go. So Athens, well, it's 31 degrees Celsius there today, actually dropping tomorrow to 29 degrees Celsius. So get a breath of fresh air in Athens, why not? Mexico City stays pretty warm all year round, really, but still only peaking at 32, 33 degrees Celsius today. Perhaps most surprising of all, New Delhi peaking in the mid-30s. Of course, today we saw 37.5. 40 degrees Celsius not out of the question for us in London, or 41 tomorrow, Riz.